Today, we're going to talk about the church at Pergamum. The church at Pergamum, you're facing enticement and you're facing corruption. You're facing enticement and you're facing corruption. I just want to help you with something. Again, he talks about in Pergamum, he says you're sitting where the throne room of Satan is. Can I tell you, there's two basic tools that the enemy, that Satan wants to use against every believer, against the church, okay? I want to get this to, I hope you'll get this. Number one, he'll either use intimidation or you will face enticement. If he can't get you, if Satan can't intimidate you, he will try and entice you into sin. The word Pergamum, a literal definition of the word Pergamum is marriage. Marriage. You can take that Greek word for marriage and you'll find out that you can actually divide it into two different words. One is the word for monogamy and the other one is for bigamy. That can literally come out of that one same word. The church had a problem though. They had a problem with being faithful. And a bigamy is when a guy says, I don't want just my one marriage. I'd like to have two marriages or three marriages or have multiple marriages. And I would say this in the sense of the world. The world has a problem with, or the church has a problem with bigamy when we allow the world to impact us. We allow the world to corrupt us and we allow the world to entice us. And that was the problem at the church at Pergamum. But then Jesus, I always love how Jesus will do this. He can always find the good. He always finds the good in us. And so if you look at verse 13, he says, to their praise, he said, I know where you dwell, where Satan's throne is. And so here's what he's saying, to your praise, I know you're living right in the seat of Satan, where Satan's throne is, where Satan resides. And I would just say this to you, I do believe that there are hot spots around the world where the demonic influence is great. I want you to get that. I believe there are spots around the world where the influence is great. And so Jesus says to the church at Pergamum, you're living in a hot spot. You're living literally right in the throne room of Satan. And you hold fast to my name. And that's a good thing. And here, two things we need to know that he says to their praise. Number one, you remain true to my name. This is what God's called us to do. God's called us to remain true to his name. This is in a place where when you go to Pergamum, they would actually, this is one of the headwaters of emperor worship. And so Caesar would come and he would, we're told historically, stand there at the throne of Zeus, or if you want to call it, the throne of Satan. He would stand there at the throne of Zeus and he would say, he would do this, and the people would say, Caesar is Lord. Caesar is Lord. Listen to me, I'm just challenging with this. We can't have two lords as believers. And it caused a real problem in Pergamum among the church. And he said, you held to my name. Here's the deal though. As a believer, we only have one Lord. And they held to his name. And the second thing he says to their praise, he said, you did this at your own risk. You knew that not calling Caesar Lord, not calling Satan Lord, not bowing down to all the Greek gods that were there in Pergamum. But they also had some error among them. They didn't do everything right. There was definitely some problems that they had in their church. This is the problem with Pergamum. There are those who fell in the trap of Balaam and Balak, where they fell into sexual immorality within the church. And rather than having a monogamous marriage, they entered into bigotry and began to have all kinds of wickedness within them. Listen to me, I'm saying to you today, many of you have the potential of walking in the enticement of Satan, and God will have something against you because of you walking in enticement. The teaching of the Nicolaitans was an error among them. What does the word Nicolaitan mean? It means conquerors of the people. Conquerors of the people. We don't know a lot about the Nicolaitans, but what we do believe about them is that they were a religious sect that believed to themselves that they had a higher word than everybody else. If you're being enticed by someone else's words, or if you're living in the enticement of sexuality, listen to me, judgment's coming. Say, how do I avoid it? Repent. And then I want you to notice, this is how we'll close today, God's gift to the overcomer. Because he says it's possible to be in that and to overcome it. And I would say this, if you need to repent, you can be an overcomer. And I want you to notice there's two hidden things that God has for the overcomer. He says, the first hidden thing, so I want to give you some of the hidden manna. Remember, manna was that what God gave the children of Israel in the wilderness. Here's what God's saying. I have an intimate manna, an intimate bread to share with you. A hidden bread that those who are living under enticement, they don't get to enjoy. But if you repent and overcome, you're going to get a relationship with me, a hidden relationship that no one else can really understand. He says the second thing is I'm going to give you a white stone. Now, a white stone for the Roman Empire, we do this today. When we have soldiers who come home from war, you have potential for getting different medals. You can get a Purple Heart if you've been injured. You can get a Silver Star for courage. There's all kinds of medals that we can get. In that day and time, when the soldiers would come back, they could get a white stone. God says, I've got a white stone that the Roman Empire can't give you. I've got a medal that the United States of America can't give you. I've got a white stone. And he says, and on that stone, there's a name that no one else gets to know. It's a hidden name. It's an intimate name that he can call your name and you know when he's calling. Can I say to you, you're never going to fully understand that or know it until you get over the enticement that the world wants to bring in your life.